The parking brake on these Ford Tauruses are pretty tricky. I'll explain basically how it works and what some of the challenges are. The cable tensioning is all in the brake pedal assembly. A lot of other emergency brake systems you adjust in the cable itself. Not this one, it's all in the brake pedal assembly. Oftentimes on an emergency brake system, you can adjust the length of the cable and then lock two nuts together. When we pull this brake pedal out, you're going to see a very complicated system inside with lots of springs and mechanisms. The spring assembly is similar to an old grandfather clock. You would have to wind up the spring and then put a pin inside it to hold the spring in place. Once the spring is completely wound, you put the pin in it, then you can put the pedal back into place, hook up the cables, pull the pin, and the mechanism will automatically adjust the tension. There's two bolts that hold this pedal into place, and they're very tight to get to. They didn't design this for mechanics, they designed this for an assembly line. When we get this pedal off, I can show you inside to the mechanism. Getting those two bolts out were no fun. Now getting that spring all wound up and then putting the pin in, we played around with it for quite a bit and it's really tough. We were able to spin the cam back and get the cable off, but we were unable to get that clock spring reset. I'll show you the basics of the mechanism and how the pin goes in. There's two slots, one on each side of this. And once you get the spring set, you put this pin all the way through this. You'll need a pin stronger than this coat hanger. Once the spring is set, you put the coat hanger in and hold everything together. Once all the spring tension is put in and the pin is in place, you can reassemble this pedal. When everything's in place and the cables are hooked up, you can pull the pin out. Easier said than done. We tried retracting the spring with screwdrivers. Anytime you're dealing with spring tension, you got to be careful. You don't want to end up in the emergency room over something like this. At about midnight, we decided, okay, enough's enough. We decided to look for a new pedal that was already wound up with the pin in it. This is how the emergency brake works on a Ford Taurus.